The champagne glass nearly slipped from my fingers when I saw them through the half-open door. I had been looking for my husband Brandon for 20 minutes at his company launch party. The ballroom was filled with investors, tech executives, and media representatives, all celebrating the big moment he had worked toward for 3 years. I had supported him through every late night, every setback, every moment of doubt. I had even quietly transferred money from my personal savings to help fund the startup when his initial investors pulled out. He never asked where the money came from, and I never told him the truth about my family. The bathroom hallway was quieter than the main event space. I could hear the bass from the music thumping through the walls, mixed with the sound of laughter and clinking glasses. I was smiling, excited to find Brandon and tell him how proud I was. His speech had been perfect. The product demo had gone flawlessly. Everything was falling into place for him. Then I saw the door marked "Private Event Staff Only" slightly open. I heard his laugh. That specific laugh he used to give me when we first started dating, full of genuine joy and something deeper. Something intimate. I should have walked away. But my feet carried me forward. Through the crack in the door, I saw my husband of 5 years pressed against his assistant, Simone. Her hands were in his hair. His hands were on her waist, pulling her closer. They were kissing like people who had done this many times before. Like people who belonged to each other. "We need to go back soon," Simone whispered, pulling away slightly. Her lipstick was smeared. "Your wife will be looking for you." Brandon laughed again. That same laugh. "Natalie is probably talking to the caterers or checking if the presentations are running on time. She loves managing things. Give me 5 more minutes with you." "You said you would tell her soon," Simone said, but she was already leaning back into him. "I will. After everything settles down with the company. I need her calm and supportive right now. Once we secure the next round of funding, I will handle it." My hand went to my mouth, blocking any sound from escaping. The champagne glass in my other hand was shaking so badly I had to set it on a nearby table. "What about us?" Simone asked. "You know you are what I want. This thing with Natalie has been dead for years. She is nice enough, but there is no passion anymore. Not like with you. I just need to time this right." I backed away from the door slowly, carefully, making no sound. My heels clicked softly on the marble floor as I walked back toward the noise and lights of the party. My face felt frozen. I could feel my smile still on my face, but it no longer connected to anything inside me. Someone grabbed my arm gently. "Mrs. Patterson, we need a photo of you and your husband for the press release." I heard my voice respond automatically. "Of course. Let me find him." But I did not go looking for Brandon. Instead, I walked to the bathroom and locked myself in a stall. I sat down fully clothed on the toilet seat and stared at the door. My breathing sounded loud in the quiet space. My heart was beating so hard I could feel it in my throat. 8 months ago, Brandon had hired Simone as his executive assistant. He told me she was efficient and understood the tech industry. He started working later, taking calls in other rooms, smiling at his phone when he thought I was not watching. I had noticed. Of course I had noticed. But I trusted him. I believed him when he said the business needed his full attention. I believed him when he said he was just stressed and tired when he barely touched me anymore. I believed him because I loved him. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and opened my text messages. There were 3 from Brandon sent during his speech. "Where are you? Investors want to meet you. Natalie? I need you for photos." "Never mind, got the photos. Simone is handling the press." Of course Simone was handling it. Simone was handling everything, including my husband. I stood up and looked at myself in the mirror. My dark brown skin was smooth, my makeup perfect, my natural hair styled beautifully in twists. I had worn a red dress tonight because Brandon once said red was his favorite color on me. Now I wondered if he even noticed what I was wearing. I fixed my lipstick with steady hands and walked back out to the party. I found Brandon near the stage, laughing with a group of investors. Simone stood beside him, her hand occasionally touching his arm in a way that seemed professional but was not. Brandon saw me and waved me over. "There she is. Natalie, come meet Mr. Hughes from Venture Capital Group." I walked over with my head high and my smile in place. I shook hands. I made small talk. I played the role of the supportive wife perfectly because I had been playing it for 5 years. But inside something had changed. The woman who walked into this party was gone. The woman standing here now was someone different. When Mr. Hughes asked how I felt about Brandon's success, I smiled and said, "I am just happy to see him get everything he deserves." Brandon squeezed my hand, thinking I was being sweet. He had no idea what I meant. Simone excused herself to check on something and Brandon pulled me closer. "Thank you for being here tonight, Nat. I know I have been distant lately with all the stress. After this is over, we should take a vacation. Reconnect. I looked up at him. This man I had loved since I was 23 years old. This man I had built a life with. This man I had betrayed my own family's wishes for, insisting on keeping my real identity secret so he would love me for me and not my money. That sounds nice, I said softly. He kissed my forehead and went back to networking. I stood there in the middle of his celebration, surrounded by people congratulating us both, and felt completely alone. The party went on for 3 more hours. I smiled until my face hurt. I posed for photos. I thanked people for coming. I watched my husband and his mistress move around the room, careful never to stand too close together in public, but I could see the glances they shared. Everyone else saw a successful launch party. I saw the ending of my marriage. When we finally got home at midnight, Brandon was buzzing with excitement. Did you see how well everything went? Hughes wants to invest another $2 million. This is going to change everything for us, Nat. I am so happy for you, I said and went to the bedroom. He did not follow me. He stayed up making phone calls, probably to Simone. I sat on the edge of our bed and finally let myself feel it. The betrayal. The humiliation. The anger. But mostly I felt something I had not felt in years. I felt clear. I knew exactly what I had to do. And Brandon had no idea what was coming. The morning after the launch party, I woke up before Brandon. The sun was barely up, casting gray light through our bedroom windows. Brandon was snoring softly beside me, his arm thrown over his face. He had stumbled into bed around 3 in the morning, smelling like champagne and cologne. Not my cologne. I got up quietly and went to the kitchen. I made coffee and sat at the counter with my laptop. My hands were steadier than I expected them to be. I opened Brandon's laptop that he had left on the dining table. I knew his password. He had never hidden it from me because he trusted me completely. Or maybe because he never thought I would look. The laptop opened to his email. I did not have to search hard. The evidence was everywhere, like he had not even tried to hide it. Maybe he thought I was too trusting to ever check. Maybe he thought I was too devoted to question him. There were emails to Simone going back 8 months just like I suspected. At first they were professional. Then they became friendly. Then they became something else entirely. Can't stop thinking about last night, one from 3 months ago said. When can I see you again? Her response, Brandon's wife suspects nothing. We can meet at the apartment after the investor meeting. My stomach turned. The apartment. He had told me he was renting a small office space to work in peace. I had never questioned it. I scrolled through more emails. There were hotel receipts. Restaurant reservations. Photos of them together that made my chest hurt. In one photo they were on a beach somewhere. Brandon had told me that was a business trip to San Francisco. Clearly, Simone had gone with him. I took screenshots of everything. I sent them to my personal email. I worked methodically, my coffee growing cold beside me. Then I found the financial records. Brandon had access to our joint account. It was an account I had opened and funded because he said mixing finances would make us stronger as a couple. I had been putting in $20,000 a month for the past 3 years to support his business dreams. I clicked through the transaction history and felt my anger rise higher than it had been. He had not just been funding his company with my money. He had been paying for Simone's apartment. He had bought her jewelry. He had taken her on trips. My money had funded his affair. I sat back and laughed bitterly. It was almost impressive how completely he had used me. I heard movement from the bedroom. Brandon would be up soon. I closed his laptop and put it back exactly where he left it. When he came into the kitchen 15 minutes later, freshly showered and smiling, I was making breakfast like everything was normal. Morning beautiful, he said, kissing my cheek. Last night was incredible. I still cannot believe how well everything went. It was a great party, I said, flipping pancakes. Everyone seemed impressed. He poured himself coffee and sat at the counter, scrolling through his phone. Probably texting Simone. I have back-to-back meetings today, he said. Might be home late again. You okay with that? Of course, I said. You should focus on the business. He smiled at me like I was the perfect wife. You are amazing, you know that? So understanding. I put the pancakes in front of him. I try. After he left for work, I sat in the silence of our apartment. Our apartment that I had paid for. Our furniture that I had bought. Our life that I had funded while he built his dreams and betrayed me. I picked up my phone and made a call I had not made in 2 years. Natalie? My father's voice was surprised. Is everything okay? Hi, Dad, I said, and my voice finally cracked. I need to come home. There was a pause. Then his voice became softer. What happened? Brandon happened. You were right about him. You were right about everything. Stay where you are. I am sending the car. I hung up and looked around the apartment. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of hiding who I really was because I wanted to be loved for myself and not my family's money. 5 years of being the supportive wife while my husband built a company with my funding and carried on an affair with his assistant. I walked to the bedroom and started packing. Not everything. Just the important things. My clothes. My documents. My grandmother's jewelry that I had foolishly left here thinking it was safe. I found my old phone in the back of my closet. The one I used to use before I married Brandon. The one connected to my real life. I charged it and waited for it to turn on. When it powered up, messages started flooding in. Updates from my father's company. Invitations to events I had been avoiding. Messages from my old friends asking where I had been. I had cut myself off from my real world to play house with Brandon. I had pretended to be someone smaller than I was because he had seemed uncomfortable whenever I was too confident or too ambitious. I had shrunk myself down to fit into his life. I was done shrinking. The doorbell rang 2 hours later. It was my father's driver, Paul, who had worked for our family for 20 years. His eyes widened when he saw me. "Miss Thompson," he said formally. "Your father sent me." I smiled. It felt good to hear my real name. "Thank you, Paul. I have 3 bags." He carried my bags to the car without questions. I took one last look at the apartment. Brandon would be home in about 5 hours. He would find me gone. He would find his laptop untouched. He would have no idea what was coming. I left the engagement ring and wedding band on the kitchen counter with a simple note. "I know everything. My lawyer will contact you." Paul drove me across the city to my father's penthouse. I had not been there in 2 years. Brandon had always made excuses about why we could not visit. Now I understood why. He did not want to be around that level of wealth. It reminded him that I came from money and he did not. My father was waiting in the living room when I arrived. Richard Thompson, tech billionaire and founder of Thompson Industries. At 65 he was still sharp and commanding. He looked at me with concern and anger in his eyes. "Tell me everything," he said. So I did. I told him about the affair. About the money. About how I had hidden my identity for 5 years trying to make Brandon love me for who I was instead of what I had. When I finished, my father was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I am calling my lawyer. And then I am calling the board. You are coming back to the company where you belong." "Dad, I do not know if I am ready." "You are ready," he said firmly. "You have been ready your whole life. You just let that man convince you otherwise. No more hiding, Natalie. It is time to show the world who you really are." I nodded, feeling something shift inside me. He was right. I had been hiding. I had been playing small. I had been pretending to be less than I was. That ended today. My father's lawyer arrived within the hour. Her name was Patricia Chin, and she was known for winning cases that seemed impossible. She sat across from me with a notepad and asked questions. "Do you want anything from him?" she asked. "No," I said. "I want to remove him from my accounts. I want a divorce. And I want to make sure he cannot claim any of my family's assets." Patricia smiled. "That will be easy. You kept your inheritance in a separate trust. He has no legal claim to it. The joint account, though." "Freeze it," I said. "Today. Consider it done. I will file the divorce papers tomorrow. He will be served at his office." My father nodded approvingly. "What about the business? Did you invest in his company?" "Not directly," I said. "I just funded the joint account. He used it for the business, but nothing is in my name." "Good," my father said. "Let him figure out how to survive without your support. I give him 3 months before he comes crawling back." "He will not get the chance," I said. "I am done with him." That night, I slept in my old bedroom in my father's penthouse. The room was exactly as I had left it. My college textbooks on the shelves. My awards from business school on the wall. Reminders of the person I used to be before I dimmed my light for a man who was cheating on me. My phone buzzed. It was Brandon calling. I let it go to voicemail. He called again. And again. Finally, he left a message. "Nat, where are you? I came home and you are gone. Your stuff is gone. What is this note? Call me back. We need to talk." I deleted the message without listening to the whole thing. Patricia called me at 9 that night. "The joint account is frozen. He cannot access anything. The divorce papers will be served tomorrow at 10 in the morning at his office. Are you sure you do not want to warn him?" "I am sure," I said. He did not warn me before he started sleeping with his assistant. Fair enough, Patricia said with approval. This is going to be simple. You had a prenup that protects your assets. You signed it. He gets nothing. After I hung up, I stood by the window looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, Brandon was probably panicking. He was probably calling my old phone that was sitting dead in a drawer somewhere in our apartment. He was probably wondering what went wrong. He would find out soon enough. I smiled at my reflection in the glass. The woman looking back at me looked different already. Stronger. Angrier. Free. Brandon had made a mistake when he underestimated me. He thought I was just a supportive wife with a little savings. He had no idea who I really was. But he was about to find out. I woke up the next morning to the sound of my father making breakfast. The smell of coffee and eggs drifted through the penthouse. For the first time in years I felt like I was home. "Sleep well?" my father asked when I walked into the kitchen. "Better than I have in months," I admitted. He slid a plate in front of me. We ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes before he spoke again. "You know, when you first told me you were getting married, I was happy for you. Then you said you wanted to keep your identity secret from him, and I knew something was wrong." I looked down at my food. I thought if he knew about the money he would never see the real me. I thought hiding it would make our relationship more genuine. "And instead you ended up with a man who took your money anyway and cheated on you with his employee," my father said bluntly. "Natalie, you have nothing to be ashamed of. Your family built this wealth through hard work and innovation. You earned your place in this world. Never hide who you are again." "I will not," I promised. At exactly 10 o'clock, Patricia called. "He has been served." He called me immediately. "He wants to talk to you." "No," I said firmly. That is what I told him. He is not taking it well. "I do not care how he takes it." Patricia laughed. "Good. I like this version of you. I will handle everything from here. You focus on yourself." After I hung up, my father said, "Come with me to the office today. It is time you saw what has been waiting for you." Thompson Industries was housed in a massive glass building downtown. I had not been here since before my wedding. As we walked through the lobby, people recognized my father and greeted him respectfully. A few people looked at me curiously, but no one recognized me. That would change soon enough. We took the private elevator to the top floor. The executive level. My father's office took up half the floor with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "Do you remember when you were 12 and you told me you wanted to run a company someday?" he asked. "I remember," I said. "You told me I could do anything I wanted." "I meant it. Look at this." He pulled up something on his computer. "This is the new AI division I have been building. We need someone to run it. Someone smart. Someone innovative. Someone I trust completely." I stared at him. "Dad, I have been out of the business world for 5 years. I cannot just." "You have a business degree from Stanford. You graduated top of your class. You worked here for 2 years before you met Brandon and you were brilliant. The only reason you stopped was because he made you feel like you had to choose between him and your ambitions." I fell silent because he was right. Brandon had never directly told me to quit working. But he had made comments about wanting a wife who was available. About how corporate life would make it hard to have kids someday. About how his business needed my support more than some company that would replace me in a second. I had internalized his discomfort with my success and made myself smaller to accommodate it. "I want to come back," I said quietly. "But I need to do it on my own terms. I need to prove to myself that I can do this." My father smiled. "Then prove it. Take the AI division. Build it into something incredible. Show everyone who Natalie Thompson really is." That afternoon I met with the executive team. They treated me with polite respect, but I could see the doubt in their eyes. I was the boss's daughter. They probably thought I was getting special treatment. I would prove them wrong. For the next week I buried myself in work. I studied the AI division inside and out. I met with developers. I reviewed proposals. I challenged assumptions. I pushed for better. And slowly the team started to respect me for my mind instead of my last name. My phone continued to blow up with calls and texts from Brandon. I blocked his number. He started calling from different phones. I blocked those too. He sent emails. I filtered them to trash. He even tried to contact me through old friends. I told him I was done talking. Patricia kept me updated on the divorce proceedings. "He is claiming the company will fail without the joint account funds. He wants you to unfreeze it." "No," I said. "He is also claiming emotional distress. Says the separation is affecting his mental health." I laughed coldly. "He should have thought about that before he stuck his tongue down his assistant's throat." "I will let him know you are not sympathetic," Patricia said dryly. 2 weeks after I moved out, my father called me into his office. He had a strange expression on his face. "Brandon showed up at the building today," he said. I felt my stomach drop. What did he want? To see you? Security stopped him in the lobby. He was making a scene, saying he needed to talk to his wife. I had them escort him out. Did he say anything else? He said his company is failing. He said Simone left him. He said he made a mistake and wants another chance. My father's expression was disgusted. I told him he had 5 seconds to leave before I called the police. I felt a strange mix of emotions. Part of me felt vindicated. Part of me felt sad for the man I used to love. But mostly I felt nothing. "Thank you for handling it," I said. "Natalie, you need to be careful. Men like Brandon do not give up easily when they realize what they lost." "He lost me the moment he cheated," I said. "There is nothing to give up on. We are done." That night I looked through old photos on my phone. Brandon and me at our wedding. Brandon and me on vacation. Brandon and me at dinners and parties and lazy Sunday mornings. I looked happy in the photos. But now I could see what I missed before. In every photo I was looking at him with complete devotion. He was usually looking at the camera or at something else. Never quite meeting my eyes. I had been so busy loving him that I never noticed he was not loving me back the same way. I deleted every photo, every text, every reminder. Then I opened my laptop and started working on a proposal for a new AI product that would revolutionize the industry. I worked until 3 in the morning, ideas flowing faster than I could type them. This was who I was supposed to be. Not Brandon's wife. Not someone's side character. I was Natalie Thompson. And I was done hiding. 3 weeks after discovering Brandon's affair, I stood in what used to be our apartment for the last time. Brandon was at work, having no idea I was there. Patricia had arranged for me to have access to collect my remaining belongings while he was gone. I walked through the room slowly, looking at the life I had built here. The couch we had picked out together. The photos on the wall that I had already removed from their frames, leaving empty spaces. The kitchen where I had cooked countless dinners while he worked late with Simone. Everything here was purchased with my money, but I did not want any of it. These things were contaminated with memories I no longer wanted to keep. I opened the closet in the spare bedroom and found the boxes I was looking for. My important documents. My grandmother's letters. My old journals from before Brandon. Things that mattered. I also found something I had forgotten about. A small box with my old business cards from when I worked at Thompson Industries. Natalie Thompson, Junior Executive. I had been so proud of those cards. I had hidden them away when Brandon commented that it seemed like I was bragging about my father's company. I put them in my bag. I would not hide them anymore. In the bedroom, I found more evidence of Brandon's double life. Receipts from restaurants I had never been to. Hotel key cards. A bracelet that was not mine tucked into his sock drawer. I took photos of everything and sent them to Patricia. Evidence for the divorce. Then I did something that would have seemed petty a month ago but felt right now. I went through all the joint accounts on my laptop and removed Brandon's access to everything. The savings account. The investment accounts. The credit cards. Everything that had my name on it. Patricia had already frozen the joint checking account, but these were accounts Brandon did not even know about. Accounts where I had been quietly saving money from my trust fund that I never touched. Without these accounts, Brandon would have nothing. His company was funded by the money I had been putting into our joint account. Without access to that money, he would have to find other investors fast. I knew I was destroying his business. I did not care. He had destroyed our marriage. This was just the consequence. My phone buzzed. It was a text from my father. "The movers are waiting downstairs. Take whatever you want." I looked around one more time. Then I walked out without taking anything except my personal items. Let Brandon keep the furniture and the memories. I was building something new. The movers helped me load everything into the truck. It was not much. 5 years of marriage fit into 6 boxes. As I was leaving, I saw our neighbor, Mrs. Peterson, in the hallway. She had always been kind to me. "Natalie? Are you moving out?" she asked, concerned. "Yes," I said simply. "Is everything okay? Where is Brandon?" "Brandon is why I am leaving," I said. "Take care, Mrs. Peterson." I did not owe her or anyone else an explanation. Back at my father's penthouse, I unpacked my boxes. Then I sat down with Patricia for our weekly update. "The divorce papers have been filed," she said. "Brandon has 30 days to respond. He has been trying to negotiate." "What does he want?" "He wants you to reconsider. He claims the affair was a mistake. He says Simone meant nothing. He wants to go to counseling." I laughed bitterly. Tell him no. Already did. He also wants the joint account unfrozen. Says his company cannot operate without it. That is not my problem. Patricia smiled. You are making this very easy for me. Most clients waver at this stage. You are ice cold. He was ice cold when he was having an affair for 8 months, I said. I am just matching his energy. Fair enough. The prenup you signed is airtight. He gets nothing. The divorce should be finalized in about 2 months if he does not contest it. What if he contests it? Then we go to court and I show the judge all the evidence of his affair and financial manipulation. He will lose and look bad doing it. His lawyer has already advised him not to contest. Good. After Patricia left, I changed into workout clothes and went to the building's gym. I had not exercised properly in years. Brandon used to make comments about women who spent too much time at the gym, saying it made them look too muscular. I spent 2 hours there pushing my body until it hurt. The pain felt good. It felt like progress. When I got back to the penthouse, my father was in the living room watching the news. Brandon called the office 12 times today, he said. My assistant finally told him that if he called again, we would file a restraining order. I am sorry he is bothering you, I said. Do not apologize for him. He is showing everyone who he really is. Let him. That night I could not sleep. I kept thinking about the moment I saw Brandon and Simone together. The way he laughed with her. The way he touched her. The way he talked about me like I was an obligation instead of his wife. But more than that, I thought about how I had made myself smaller for him. How I had hidden my intelligence because he seemed intimidated by it. How I had stopped sharing my ideas because he always had a reason why they would not work. How I had convinced myself that being a supportive wife meant dimming my own light. I got up and went to my laptop. I opened the file with my AI proposal and kept working. This was my light. This was who I was meant to be. At 2 in the morning, I finished the presentation. It was bold. It was innovative. It was going to change everything. I sent it to my father and the executive team with a note. Proposal for Thomson Industries AI division. Review and advise. Then I finally went to sleep, feeling more like myself than I had in 5 years. The next morning, my father called me before I was even out of bed. Natalie, this proposal is extraordinary. Where did this come from? From me, I said. It has always been in me. I just forgot for a while. The board wants to meet with you tomorrow. They are very interested. I will be ready. After I hung up, I realized I was smiling. Really smiling. Not the fake smile I had worn at Brandon's launch party. A real smile that came from somewhere deep inside. I got dressed and looked at myself in the mirror. I looked different. My eyes were brighter. My posture was straighter. I looked like someone who knew her worth. My phone buzzed with an email notification. It was from Brandon, sent from a new email address since I had blocked all his others. Subject: please read this. I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity got the better of me. Natalie, I know you are angry. I know I messed up. But we can fix this. What I had with Simone was nothing. It was stupid and meaningless. You are my wife. You are the one I love. Please let me explain. Please give me a chance to make this right. I am losing everything. The company is failing without funding. Simone is gone. I have nothing left. You are all I have. Please. I read it twice. Then I wrote a response. Brandon, you had everything. You had a wife who loved you completely. You had financial support. You had someone who believed in you even when no one else did. And you threw it away for an affair with your assistant. You did not lose everything. You gave it away. We are done. Stop contacting me. My lawyer will handle everything from now on. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Then I blocked that email address too. I was done giving Brandon chances. He had used them all up. The board meeting was scheduled for 10 in the morning. I spent 3 hours getting ready, going through my presentation over and over until I could recite it in my sleep. I chose a navy blue suit that was professional but powerful. I pulled my hair back into a sleek bun. I looked at myself in the mirror and saw a CEO, not a supportive wife hiding in the background. My father met me outside the boardroom. Nervous. Terrified, I admitted. Good. That means you care. Go in there and show them what you can do. The boardroom was filled with 12 executives, all older than me, mostly men. They looked at me with polite interest, but I could sense their skepticism. I was Richard Thompson's daughter. They probably assumed I was getting special treatment. I opened my laptop and connected to the presentation screen. Then I began. Good morning. I am Natalie Thompson, and I am here to present a proposal that will position Thomson Industries as the leader in ethical AI development. For the next 45 minutes I walked them through my vision. An AI system that prioritized transparency and user privacy. A product that would revolutionize how companies handle data while protecting consumers. A platform that was not just profitable but responsible. I showed them market research. I showed them projected revenue. I showed them why every major company would want this product. When I finished, the room was silent. Then one of the older board members, Gerald, spoke up. "This is impressive work, Miss Thompson. But you have been out of the business world for several years. What makes you think you can execute this vision?" I looked him directly in the eye. "You're right. I stepped away from my career to support my husband's business. It was the biggest mistake I ever made. I forgot who I was and what I was capable of. I'm not making that mistake again. I built this proposal in 3 weeks while managing a divorce. Imagine what I can do when I have a team and resources behind me." Another board member, Linda, smiled. "I like your confidence. What do you need from us?" "I need a budget, a development team, and 6 months to build a prototype. If it does not meet expectations, I will step down." Gerald frowned. "That is a significant investment for an unproven project lead." My father spoke up. "Natalie graduated top of her class at Stanford Business School. She worked in our strategy division for 2 years and increased efficiency by 30%. She has been brilliant her entire life. She just took a break. I trust her completely." "I appreciate the trust," I said. "But I am not asking you to approve this because I am Richard Thompson's daughter. I am asking you to approve it because it is a good idea that will make this company billions." Linda laughed. "I like her. I vote yes." One by one the board members voted. It was not unanimous, but it was enough. Gerald was the last to vote. He studied me for a long moment. "Fine. You have 6 months. Do not waste our time." "I will not," I promised. After the meeting my father hugged me. "You were perfect." "I was terrified," I admitted. "You did not show it. That is what matters." As we walked back to his office my phone rang. It was Patricia. "Natalie, we have a problem. Brandon is not signing the divorce papers." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean he is not signing them?" "He is refusing. He says he wants to fight for the marriage. He is claiming temporary insanity due to business stress. His lawyer is asking for counseling instead of divorce." I felt my anger rise. Can he do that? Can he just refuse to sign? He can delay things, but he cannot stop it forever. If he refuses to cooperate, we go to court. It will just take longer. How much longer? Could be 6 months or more if he really fights it. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Of course Brandon was not going to make this easy. He never made anything easy. "Do whatever you have to do," I told Patricia. "I want this divorce finalized as soon as possible. I will file a motion. We have plenty of evidence. He will not win." After I hung up, my father could see my frustration. "What happened?" "Brandon is refusing to sign the divorce papers. He wants to fight for our marriage apparently." My father's expression went dark. "He wants access to your money again. That is what this is about." "I know," I said. "But he is not getting it." That evening I tried to focus on work. I had a development team to build and a product to create. But I kept thinking about Brandon's refusal to sign. He had spent 8 months cheating on me. But now that his affair fell apart and his company was failing, suddenly he wanted to fight for our marriage. It was pathetic. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Natalie, this is Simone. Can we talk?" I stared at the message in disbelief. Simone? His mistress wanted to talk to me? I typed back, "No. Lose my number." She responded immediately. "Please. You need to know the truth about Brandon." "I already know the truth. You both lied to me. That is all I need to know. There is more. He used both of us. Please let me explain." I almost blocked the number. But something made me pause. What could Simone possibly tell me that would matter? Then I remembered my rules. No contact with the mistress. No relationship with the woman who helped destroy my marriage. Whatever Simone wanted to say, I did not want to hear it. I blocked her number without responding. Let her deal with her guilt on her own. I was not here to make her feel better about helping Brandon cheat. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. I interviewed developers. I recruited a project manager. I set up offices for my team. I worked 12-hour days and loved every minute of it. For the first time in years, I felt alive. I felt purposeful. I felt like myself. The divorce was moving slowly. Brandon was fighting every step, claiming he deserved a second chance. His company had officially closed after running out of funding. He had lost his office space. He had moved into a small apartment with money borrowed from his parents. Part of me felt bad for him. But mostly I felt nothing. He had made his choices. Now he was living with the consequences. One afternoon I was leaving the office when I saw someone waiting by my car. My heart jumped until I realized it was not Brandon. It was Simone. "What are you doing here?" I asked coldly. "I needed to see you," she said. She looked different from the night of the launch party. Thinner. Tired. "Please, just give me 5 minutes." "No," I said, walking past her to my car. She followed me. "Brandon is lying to you. He told me you two were separated. He said the marriage was over and you were just waiting to finalize everything." I did not know. "You knew I existed," I interrupted. "That is enough. You made your choice." "I am sorry," she said, tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry. He used me too. He promised me he would leave you. He said we would be together once his company took off. Then as soon as things got hard, he dropped me. He told me I was nothing but a distraction." I looked at her and felt nothing but disgust. "You want me to feel bad for you? You want me to comfort you because the married man you were sleeping with turned out to be a liar? No. Figure it out yourself. I just wanted you to know. I do not care what you want me to know. Stay away from me." I got in my car and drove away, leaving her standing in the parking lot. That night I told my father what happened. He was furious. "She came to your workplace? That is harassment. We can file a restraining order." "I do not think she will come back," I said. "She just wanted to ease her guilt. But I am not interested in helping her feel better." "Good. She made her choices. Let her live with them." I nodded, but I could not stop thinking about what Simone said. Brandon had lied to her too, telling her the marriage was already over. He had used her the same way he used me. It did not make me feel sorry for her. But it confirmed what I already knew. Brandon was a liar who used people to get what he wanted. And I was done being used. 6 weeks into my role as head of the AI division, I was thriving. My team had grown to 15 people, all brilliant developers and strategists who believed in the vision I had presented to the board. We were building something revolutionary. An AI platform that companies could use without compromising user privacy. A system that was transparent about how data was collected and used. A product that put ethics first without sacrificing functionality. Every day I came into the office energized. I had ideas constantly. My team respected me not because I was the boss's daughter, but because I was good at what I did. "Natalie, you need to see this," my project manager Terrence called from across the room. I walked over to his desk. He had pulled up news articles about competitors. 3 major tech companies just announced they are working on similar products, he said. "We need to move faster or we will lose our advantage." I studied the articles. He was right. We had 6 months to deliver a prototype, but if competitors beat us to market, all our work would be meaningless. "Set up a meeting with the development team," I said. "We need to accelerate our timeline." For the next 2 weeks we worked around the clock. I bought dinner for the team every night. I stayed late with them, coding alongside the developers even though I was supposed to be managing. My father noticed. "You are burning yourself out." "I am fine," I said. "This matters to me." "I know it does. But you need balance. When was the last time you did something that was not work?" I could not remember. Work had become my everything. It was easier than thinking about the divorce that was dragging on. It was easier than thinking about Brandon's constant attempts to contact me through mutual friends and family. "Maybe this weekend," I said, knowing I would probably work through it. That Friday night, I stayed at the office until 11. Everyone else had gone home. I was reviewing code when I heard footsteps. Natalie Thompson? I looked up to see a man I did not recognize standing in the doorway. He was tall, with warm brown skin and kind eyes. He wore casual clothes, not a business suit. "Can I help you?" I asked cautiously. "Sorry to startle you. I am Gabriel Morrison, the architect working on the 5th floor renovation. I was checking the building and saw your lights on. Just wanted to make sure everything was okay." I relaxed slightly. "I am fine. Just working late." He smiled. "You work here often?" "I have seen your lights on every night this week. I run the AI division. We are on a tight deadline." "Sounds intense." He leaned against the doorframe. "I am renovating the space below you. If my team gets too loud during the day, let me know." "You have not been too loud," I said. Then I realized I was being rude. "Sorry, I am usually better at basic conversation. It has been a long day." "No worries. I will let you get back to it." He started to leave, then turned back. "You should not work so late alone though. Building security is good, but still." Not safe. I will keep that in mind, I said. After he left, I realized I had been smiling. The first genuine smile I had given anyone who was not my father or my team in weeks. I packed up my things and went home thinking about kind eyes and a warm smile. The next morning, Patricia called with an update on the divorce. Brandon's lawyer is still pushing for reconciliation counseling. They are claiming you abandoned the marriage without attempting to fix it. I laughed bitterly. I abandoned the marriage? He cheated for 8 months. I know. We have all the evidence. But he is dragging this out. I think his strategy is to frustrate you into settling. What would settling look like? He would want money. Probably a percentage of your trust fund or a lump sum payment. He would frame it as compensation for the years he was married to you. I felt my anger rise. He wants to be paid for cheating on me? Essentially, yes. It is absurd, but his lawyer is pushing it. I think they know they will not win, but they are hoping you will pay him just to make this go away faster. Tell his lawyer I will see them in court. I am not paying Brandon a single dollar. That is what I thought you would say. We go to trial in 3 months. After I hung up, I felt drained. Brandon was not just refusing to let go. He was actively trying to hurt me by dragging this out as long as possible. But I was not going to let him win. That afternoon, I went to the office even though it was Saturday. I needed to focus on something productive instead of thinking about my failing marriage. When I got to my floor, I heard construction noise from below. Gabriel's renovation project. I went downstairs out of curiosity. The 5th floor was completely gutted. The walls were down to studs, the ceiling was exposed. Gabriel was in the middle of it all, wearing a hard hat and reviewing blueprints. Working on Saturday too? I asked. He looked up and smiled. Natalie. Yeah, we are behind schedule. Trying to catch up. I know the feeling. He walked over, taking off his hard hat. Want to see what we are building? It is pretty cool. For the next 30 minutes, Gabriel showed me around the renovation. He was building a collaborative workspace with natural light, green spaces, and flexible areas for different types of work. It is designed to make people feel creative and comfortable, he explained. Traditional offices box people in. This opens them up. I found myself genuinely interested. Do you design all your projects this way? When clients let me. Most people want traditional layouts. But I think we should design spaces that make people happy, not just functional. As he talked, I noticed how passionate he was about his work. It reminded me of how I felt about my AI project. You really love what you do, I said. I do. Do you love your work? I am starting to, I admitted. I took a long break from my career. Coming back has been incredible. Why did you take a break? I hesitated. Then I decided honesty was easier than making up a story. My husband wanted a more available wife. So I stepped back from work to support him. Turns out he was using that time to have an affair. Gabriel's expression shifted to sympathy. I'm sorry. That is terrible. It was. But it taught me not to make myself smaller for anyone. Good lesson to learn, he said. Though it is a shame you had to learn it that way. We talked for another hour about work, about the building, about nothing important. It felt good to have a normal conversation with someone who did not know my whole story. When I finally left, Gabriel said, Hey, if you ever want to take a break from working late, there is a good coffee shop around the corner. Best coffee in the city. I smiled. Maybe I will check it out. Maybe I will see you there, he said with a warm smile. As I drove home, I realized I was thinking about Gabriel instead of Brandon. It felt strange and good at the same time. I was not looking for romance. I was still dealing with my divorce. But maybe friendship was okay. Maybe letting someone new into my life, even just as a casual friend, was a step toward healing. When I got back to the penthouse, my father noticed my mood. You look lighter today. I feel lighter, I said. I think I am finally moving forward. Good, he said. You deserve to be happy. That night I did not work. Instead, I watched a movie and relaxed for the first time in weeks. And when I went to sleep, I did not dream about Brandon or the divorce. I dreamed about building something new both in business and in life. The industry event was in 3 months. The annual Tech Innovation Conference where every major company unveiled their newest products. Thomson Industries had secured a keynote spot, and my father wanted me to present our AI platform. It is the perfect opportunity, he said. We announce you as the division head and showcase the product at the same time. Make a statement. That is a lot of pressure, I said. You can handle it. You have been handling everything thrown at you lately. He was right. In the past 3 months, I had built a team, developed a working prototype, and managed a contentious divorce all at the same time. I could handle a presentation. But this would be different. This would be public. This would be announcing to the world that I was Natalie Thompson, billionaire heiress and tech CEO. No more hiding. No more pretending to be someone smaller than I was. The thought was terrifying and exciting at the same time. I threw myself into preparation. The prototype was working beautifully. My team had exceeded every expectation. We had built something that was not just innovative but actually useful. This is going to change the industry, Terrence said during one of our final testing sessions. Companies are going to fight over this. That is the plan, I said, smiling. The divorce trial was scheduled for 2 weeks before the conference. Patricia was confident we would win, but I was nervous about seeing Brandon in court. He will try to manipulate you, Patricia warned. He will cry. He will apologize. He will say whatever he thinks will make you give him money. Do not fall for it. I will not, I promised. The day of the trial arrived. I wore a black suit and kept my expression neutral. Brandon was already in the courtroom when I arrived, looking thinner and worn down. His eyes lit up when he saw me. I looked away. The trial was exactly as Patricia predicted. Brandon's lawyer tried to paint me as a cold wife who abandoned her husband in his time of need. They tried to claim Brandon deserved compensation for supporting me emotionally during our marriage. Then Patricia presented evidence. Screenshots of the affair. Financial records showing how Brandon had used my money. Testimony from people who had witnessed Brandon and Simone together. Brandon tried to testify that the affair was a mistake, that he had been stressed and made a bad choice. The judge was not impressed. Mr. Patterson, you conducted an affair for 8 months while using your wife's money to fund both your business and your mistress. The evidence is overwhelming. I see no grounds for your claim of emotional support or any other compensation. The divorce was finalized. Brandon got nothing. I kept everything that was mine. As we left the courthouse, Brandon tried to approach me. Natalie, please. Can we talk? We have nothing to talk about, I said, walking past him. I am sorry, he called after me. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I lost everything. Please. I stopped and turned to look at him. You did not lose everything, Brandon. You threw it away. There is a difference. Then I left him standing there and drove back to the office. Patricia called me that evening. How do you feel? Free, I said honestly. Finally free. Good. Now you can focus on your big presentation. The next 2 weeks flew by. I practiced my keynote speech until I could recite it perfectly. I worked with the design team on slides. I coordinated with the conference organizers on logistics. The night before the conference, my father took me to dinner at an expensive restaurant. Tomorrow, everyone will know who you are, he said. Are you ready? I think so, I said. Part of me wishes I could stay anonymous. What? You have nothing to hide. You built something extraordinary. You survived a terrible situation and came out stronger. You should be proud. He was right. I had nothing to hide anymore. The morning of the conference, I put on a white suit that made me feel powerful. I looked at myself in the mirror and saw a CEO. Someone strong. Someone capable. The conference center was packed. Thousands of people from the tech industry filled the auditorium. I stood backstage waiting for my introduction. You are going to be amazing, Terrence said, squeezing my shoulder. My father stood beside me. I am proud of you no matter what happens. Then I heard my introduction. Please welcome Natalie Thompson, CEO of Thompson Industries AI division, to present their revolutionary new platform. I walked onto the stage to applause. The lights were bright, but I could see faces in the audience. People I recognized from the industry. Reporters with cameras. Competitors taking notes. And somewhere in that crowd, Brandon might be watching too. I did not look for him. Good morning, I said, my voice clear and confident. My name is Natalie Thompson, and I am here to introduce a product that will change how companies think about artificial intelligence. For the next 45 minutes, I presented our platform. I showed demos. I explained the technology. I talked about ethics and privacy and responsibility. The audience was engaged, leaning forward, taking notes. When I finished, there was a moment of silence. Then the auditorium erupted in applause. I walked off stage feeling like I was floating. Media representatives immediately surrounded me, asking for interviews. Industry leaders wanted meetings. Investors wanted to talk numbers. My father hugged me. You were perfect. Absolutely perfect. That afternoon, the news coverage started. Articles calling me the hidden heir who emerged as a tech visionary. Stories about my divorce and how I had built a company while dealing with betrayal. Photos of me on stage looking confident and powerful. My phone blew up with messages from old friends I had lost touch with during my marriage. People congratulating me. People asking to reconnect. And one text from an unknown number: "You were incredible today. Congratulations. Gabriel." I smiled at that one. Gabriel had gotten my number from building security. It should have felt invasive, but somehow it just felt sweet. "Thank you," I texted back. "Coffee tomorrow?" "Definitely." That evening, my father hosted a celebration at the penthouse. The executive team came. My development team came. People I had worked with before my marriage came. It felt like a homecoming. As I stood looking out at the city, someone joined me at the window. It was Linda from the board. "You proved us all wrong," she said. "I proved Gerald wrong," I corrected with a smile. "You believed in me from the start." "True. But even I did not expect this level of success." "You did not just meet expectations, Natalie. You exceeded them." "Thank you. That means a lot." "What is next for you? With the product launched and your divorce finalized, what do you want?" I thought about that question. What did I want? "I want to keep building," I said. "I want to prove that success and ethics can coexist. I want to show people that you do not have to sacrifice your values to win." "That is a good goal," Linda said. "I think you will achieve it." Later that night, after everyone left, I sat with my father in the quiet penthouse. "Did you ever imagine this is where we would end up?" I asked. "I always knew you would do something extraordinary," he said. "I just hoped you would figure it out before wasting too much time on people who did not deserve you." "I figured it out," I said. Finally. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Brandon Patterson, former tech entrepreneur, files bankruptcy after failed business venture. I read the headline without emotion. Brandon had made his choices. He had chosen the affair over the marriage. He had chosen to use my money instead of building something sustainable. He had chosen short-term pleasure over long-term success. Now he was living with those choices. I deleted the notification and put my phone away. Brandon was part of my past. He was not part of my future. Tomorrow I would meet Gabriel for coffee. Next week I would start planning the next phase of our AI platform. Next month I would speak at another conference. I was building a life I was proud of. A life that was completely mine. And that felt better than any revenge I could have planned. 2 weeks after my keynote presentation, Brandon showed up at Thompson Industries again. This time, security called me before removing him. "He is asking to see you," the guard said over the phone. "Says it is urgent." "Tell him I am not available," I said. "And if he comes back, we will file a restraining order." "Understood, Miss Thompson." I hung up and tried to focus on work, but I was shaken. The divorce was finalized. Brandon had no legal reason to contact me. What could he possibly want? That evening, Patricia called. Brandon's lawyer contacted me. He wants to appeal the divorce settlement. Appeal it? On what grounds? He claims you manipulated him during the marriage by hiding your wealth. He says if he had known about your money, he would have made different decisions. I laughed in disbelief. He used my money the entire time. How is that my fault? It is not. His claim has no merit. But he can file it and drag this out longer. Let him try, I said, feeling my anger rise again. I am done caring what Brandon wants. Good. Because his business officially filed bankruptcy today. His apartment lease is ending next month. His parents cut him off financially after they learned about the affair. He is desperate. None of that is my problem. I agree. But desperate people do stupid things. Be careful. I promised I would be careful, but I was not worried. Brandon was an annoyance, not a threat. The next morning, I met Gabriel at the coffee shop he had recommended. It was small and cozy, with exposed brick and comfortable chairs. Gabriel was already there, reading a book on architecture. "Hey," I said, sliding into the chair across from him. He looked up and smiled. "Hey yourself. How does it feel to be famous?" "Strange," I admitted. "I spent 5 years hiding who I was. Now everyone knows. It is an adjustment. I saw your presentation online. It was impressive. You are really good at what you do." "Thank you." "How is the renovation going?" "Almost done. Should be finished next week. Then I move on to my next project." "Where is your next project?" "Austin. 6-month contract to design a new campus for a tech company." I felt a strange disappointment. "That is exciting." "It is. But I will miss this city." He paused. "I will miss the coffee here." I smiled. "Just the coffee?" "Well, the coffee and the conversations." His eyes were warm. "I have enjoyed getting to know you, Natalie." "I have enjoyed getting to know you too," I said honestly. We talked for 2 hours about everything and nothing. Gabriel made me laugh. He listened when I talked about work stress. He shared stories about his own career struggles. It felt easy, natural, like we had known each other much longer than a few weeks. As we were leaving, Gabriel said, "I know you just went through a divorce. I know you are focused on your career. But if you ever want to have dinner or see a movie or just talk, I would really like that." I looked at him, considering. I was not ready for a relationship, but I was ready for whatever this was. Friendship with potential. "I would like that too," I said. We exchanged numbers and I drove back to the office feeling lighter. That afternoon, Terrence knocked on my door. "Natalie, we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Someone leaked our proprietary code online. Competitors have access to our platform foundation." My stomach dropped. "How is that possible?" "We have strict security protocols. I am running a trace now to see where it came from. But this is bad. Really bad." I called an emergency meeting with the development team. We traced the leak to an external device that had accessed our system 3 weeks ago. "Who had access?" I asked. Terrence pulled up the logs. "Only team members and one guest login." "What guest login?" He looked uncomfortable. "Someone requested building access to meet with you. They were given temporary Wi-Fi access for 1 hour. The leak happened during that window." "Who requested the access?" Terrence pulled up the request form. The name made my blood run cold. Brandon Patterson. "He was here 3 weeks ago?" I asked. "Security says he showed up claiming to be your husband. They called your office but you were in a meeting. Your assistant told them to let him wait in the lobby and gave him guest Wi-Fi access. He left after an hour when you did not come down." I closed my eyes. Brandon had stolen our code. He had accessed our secure system and leaked it to competitors. "Call our lawyer," I said. "This is corporate espionage." Within an hour, Patricia and our corporate legal team were in the office. We compiled evidence showing the leak came from Brandon's access. "This is criminal," Patricia said. "He can go to prison for this." "Will pressing charges hurt our product launch?" I asked. "It might delay things while the investigation happens. But you have grounds to sue him civilly for damages as well." I thought about it. Pursuing Brandon legally would keep him in my life longer. It would mean more court dates, more lawyers, more stress. But he had stolen from my company. He had tried to sabotage my success because he could not handle his own failure. "File charges," I said. "Civil and criminal. I want him held accountable." The news broke 2 days later. Tech CEO's ex-husband arrested for corporate espionage. The media had a field day. They painted Brandon as a jealous ex trying to destroy his former wife's success. They called him pathetic and desperate. I felt nothing but sadness. Not for Brandon but for the man I thought he was when I married him. That man never existed. He was always this person underneath. Brandon was arraigned and released on bail. His parents hired him a lawyer, but even they were disgusted by what he had done. Patricia kept me updated on his attempts to contact me. "He tried to send a letter to your office. We sent it back unopened. He called my office 17 times yesterday. I blocked his number." "What does he want?" "To explain. To apologize. To beg you to drop the charges." The usual desperation. "I am not dropping anything." "Good." He made his choice. Now he faces the consequences. A week later, Simone tried to contact me again. She showed up at the coffee shop where Gabriel and I had been meeting. "Natalie, please," she said when she saw me. "We need to talk about Brandon." "No, we do not," I said, standing to leave. "He is spiraling. He keeps calling me. He says you ruined his life." "I did not ruin anything. He ruined his own life by making terrible choices." "I know. I'm not defending him. But he is talking about doing something stupid. I am worried." I looked at her. "If you are genuinely worried, call his family or the police. I am not responsible for Brandon's mental health. Not anymore." "He still loves you," she said desperately. "No, he does not. He loves what I represented. Money. Support. Stability. He never loved me as a person." I left her sitting there and drove to the office. I called Patricia and told her about the encounter. "Simone says Brandon is spiraling. She thinks he might do something stupid. I will alert the police to keep an eye on him. But Natalie, if he is making threats, we need to take it seriously. Do you want protection?" "I have building security. I will be careful." That night, my father insisted I stay at the penthouse instead of going to my own apartment. "Until this blows over, I want you here where there are security cameras and guards." I agreed. I was not scared of Brandon, but I was not stupid either. Gabriel called to check on me. I saw the news. Are you okay? I am fine. Just tired of dealing with my ex. Do you want company? I can bring takeout and we can watch bad movies. I smiled. That sounds perfect. An hour later, Gabriel showed up with Thai food and a ridiculous action movie. We sat on my father's massive couch and ate and laughed and forgot about Brandon for a few hours. When Gabriel was getting ready to leave, he said, I leave for Austin next week. I know, I said quietly. But I will be back to visit. And we can video call. If you want. I want, I said. He smiled and kissed my cheek gently. You are going to be okay, Natalie. You are stronger than anyone I have ever met. After he left, I sat in the quiet penthouse and realized he was right. I was okay. Better than okay. Brandon could spiral. He could make threats. He could try to sabotage my company. None of it would stop me from moving forward. I had already won. Not by destroying him, but by building something better without him. 3 months after Brandon's arrest, his criminal trial concluded. He was found guilty of corporate espionage and sentenced to 18 months in prison, followed by probation. The judge was not sympathetic to his claims that he was driven by desperation. You made a calculated decision to steal proprietary information, the judge said. The court sees this as vindictive behavior toward your ex-wife, not desperation. I watched from the gallery as Brandon was led away. He looked back at me once, his expression a mix of anger and regret. I felt nothing. Patricia squeezed my hand. It is over. Finally over. Thank you, I said. For everything. You made it easy. When you have truth on your side, the law works. After the trial, I went back to the office and buried myself in work. Our AI platform had officially launched despite the leaked code. Turns out, our competitors could not do anything with the foundation without our proprietary algorithms. The leak had been scary but ultimately ineffective. Sales were exceeding projections. Companies were lining up to integrate our platform. We were being featured in tech magazines and news shows. Thomson Industries' AI division was the success story of the year. But something was missing. Work was fulfilling, but it was not everything. Gabriel had been in Austin for 2 months and I missed him more than I expected. We video called every few days. He told me about his project. I told him about mine. We talked about nothing important and everything that mattered. When are you coming back? I asked during one call. My contract ends next month. Then I have a week off before starting a project here in the city. Here in the city? My heart jumped. Yeah. I turned down 2 other offers because I wanted to be home. He paused. Because I wanted to be near you. I am glad, I said softly. I have been waiting. Me too. The next month passed slowly. My team was working on version 2 of our platform. I was speaking at conferences and doing media interviews. Life was busy and successful. But I was thinking about Gabriel. About the way he made me laugh. About how easy conversation was with him. About how he looked at me like I was interesting and valuable, not just as Richard Thompson's daughter or as a CEO, but as myself. When he finally came back to the city, I picked him up from the airport. We stood in the arrivals area looking at each other, both grinning like idiots. Hi, he said. Hi, I said. Then he kissed me, right there in the middle of the airport with people walking around us. It was not a first kiss technically, but it felt like one. It felt like a beginning. I have been wanting to do that for months, he said. Why did you wait so long? I asked. Because you needed time to heal. I wanted to make sure you were choosing me, not just choosing not to be alone. I am choosing you, I said. Definitely choosing you. We spent the next few weeks learning each other. Gabriel was patient and kind. He listened when I talked about my marriage and the divorce without judging. He shared his own stories about relationships that had not worked out. I was engaged once, he told me over dinner one night. She wanted me to give up architecture and work for her father's finance company. Said designing buildings was not a real career. What did you do? I gave her the ring back and moved to another city. Best decision I ever made. I am glad you did not give up on what you love, I said. I am glad you did not either, he said, reaching for my hand. My father noticed the change in me. You seem happy. I am, I said. Really happy. Is it Gabriel? It is work and Gabriel and myself. I finally feel like all the pieces fit. Good. You deserve this, Natalie. All of it. 6 months after Brandon went to prison, I ran into Simone at a restaurant. She was with a new man laughing at something he said. She saw me and her smile faded. I could have looked away. I could have let the awkwardness hang in the air. but I found I did not care enough to make it awkward. I nodded politely and went back to my dinner with Gabriel. Was that her? Gabriel asked quietly. Yeah. But it does not matter anymore. And it truly did not. Simone was part of a past that no longer had power over me. Brandon was in prison paying for his crimes. I was building a life I was proud of with someone who valued me completely. A few weeks later, I was giving a lecture at Stanford, my old business school. Students asked me about success and failure and how to balance ambition with ethics. At the end, a young woman raised her hand. How did you come back from your divorce? How did you rebuild? I thought about the question. I stopped trying to be small. I stopped hiding who I was to make someone else comfortable. I built something that mattered to me, not what someone else wanted me to build. And I let myself be loved by someone who actually saw me. The room was quiet. Then the students applauded. After the lecture, several students came up to talk to me. One woman said, "Thank you. I have been making myself smaller for my boyfriend. You made me realize I need to stop." "You do," I said gently. "Never shrink yourself for someone else's comfort. Find someone who celebrates your full self." As I drove back to the city, I called Gabriel. "What are you doing tonight?" "I was going to work on some designs." "Why?" "Come over instead. I want to cook dinner for you." "You cook?" "I used to." I stopped because Brandon said my cooking was just okay. "But I think I am actually pretty good." Gabriel laughed. "I will be there in an hour. And I already know your cooking is going to be amazing." That night, I made pasta from scratch while Gabriel sat at the counter telling me about his day. We ate and talked and laughed. It felt natural and right. Later, as we sat on the couch watching a movie, Gabriel said, "I love you, you know." I looked at him. "I love you too." "Too soon." "No," I said, kissing him. "Perfect timing." We fell asleep on the couch together, tangled up in each other, and I realized something important. This was what love was supposed to feel like. Easy. Supportive. Equal. Brandon had never been my equal. He had always been taking from me while giving very little back. Gabriel gave as much as I did. He supported my ambitions while pursuing his own. He celebrated my success without feeling threatened. This was partnership. This was what I deserved all along. 1 year after my keynote presentation, Thomson Industries hosted our own product launch party. The AI division had grown to 50 employees. Our platform was being used by major companies worldwide. We had revolutionized the industry exactly as I had promised the board. The party was at the same venue where Brandon had launched his company. I chose it deliberately. I was reclaiming this space, replacing bad memories with good ones. My team was there. My father was there. Gabriel was by my side looking proud. Reporters and industry leaders filled the room. This time I was the one giving the speech. I stood at the podium and looked out at the crowd. 1 year ago, I had stood in a similar crowd watching my husband celebrate his success while planning to leave his wife. Now I was the one celebrating, and I had earned every bit of it. "Thank you all for coming," I said. 1 year ago, I stood in a room like this and realized my life was not what I thought it was. That moment changed everything. It forced me to decide who I wanted to be. I paused, looking at Gabriel, who smiled at me encouragingly. I chose to be myself. Completely, fully, unapologetically myself. I stopped hiding. I stopped shrinking. I built something I believe in with people I respect. And tonight, we celebrate not just a product launch, but a journey of becoming. The room applauded. I continued talking about the new features we were launching, the partnerships we had formed, the future we were building. After the speech, people surrounded me with congratulations and questions. Media wanted interviews. Investors wanted meetings. It was overwhelming and wonderful. During a quiet moment, I stepped outside for air. The night was cool and clear. I looked up at the stars and felt grateful. Gabriel found me there. "You were incredible in there." "Thank you for being here," I said. "Always." He wrapped his arms around me. "You know what I realized?" "What?" "You did not get revenge on Brandon. You just became so successful that he became irrelevant. That is better than any revenge." I smiled. "You're right. Revenge would have meant I was still thinking about him. This way, I barely remember he exists." "Do you ever wonder what happened to him?" "Not really. Patricia mentioned he got out of prison a few months ago. He is working some regular job and living with his parents. But honestly, I do not care. His story is not part of mine anymore." We stood there in comfortable silence, watching the city lights. Then Gabriel said, "Move in with me." I turned to look at him. "What?" "I found a great apartment. Too big for one person. Perfect for two. Move in with me." "Gabriel, We have only been together officially for 6 months. I know. But I also know I want to wake up next to you every morning. I know I want to come home to you every night. I know you are it for me, Natalie. So why wait? I looked at this man who had been patient with me, who supported my healing, who loved me without trying to change me. And I realized he was right. Why wait? Okay, I said. Let's do it. He grinned and kissed me. Really? Really? But I have one condition. Anything. I pay half of everything. Equal partners in all things. Deal. We went back inside to the party hand in hand. My father saw us and smiled knowingly. You two look happy, he said. We are, I said. Gabriel asked me to move in with him. And you said yes, I hope? I said yes. My father hugged Gabriel. Take care of my daughter. Always, sir. As the party wound down, I stood with Gabriel and my father looking out at the crowd. These were my people. My team. My supporters. My future. Remember when you told me I would do something extraordinary? I said to my father. I remember. I think I am doing it. You absolutely are, sweetheart. I am so proud of you. 3 months later, Gabriel and I moved into our apartment together. It was modern and bright with space for both of us to work and live. We filled it with furniture we chose together, art we both loved, and memories we were building. I was cooking dinner one evening when my phone buzzed with a news alert. Brandon Patterson released from prison early for good behavior, starting job as sales associate. I read the headline without emotion. Brandon was rebuilding his life in his own way. It had nothing to do with me. Gabriel saw me looking at my phone. Everything okay? Yeah, I said, deleting the notification. Just old news. That weekend we went furniture shopping. As we were loading a new bookshelf into Gabriel's truck, I saw someone at a coffee shop across the street. It was Brandon. He looked older, tired, but he was laughing with someone. He seemed okay. Not happy exactly, but surviving. He did not see me, and I did not go over to talk to him. Instead, I got in the truck with Gabriel and we drove home to our apartment. Our life. Our future. You saw him, did not you? Gabriel asked as we were driving. Yeah, I said. He looked okay. I am glad. Really? Really? I do not need him to suffer. I just needed him to be out of my life. And he is. That night, as we built the bookshelf together, Gabriel said, You know what I love about us? What? We are both whole people building something together. Not two broken people trying to fix each other. He was right. I was not with Gabriel because I needed to be rescued or because I was afraid to be alone. I was with him because he made my good life even better. 6 months after that, I was at another industry conference giving another keynote speech. This time, Gabriel was in the audience. So was my father. So was my entire team. I talked about ethical AI. About building businesses that valued people over profits. About staying true to yourself even when it would be easier to compromise. After the speech, a young woman approached me. Thank you for your presentation. I am in an MBA program and writing my thesis on women in tech. Would you be willing to be interviewed? Of course, I said. What is your thesis about? About how women can succeed without sacrificing their values or identities. You are a perfect example. As she walked away, I thought about who I was a year ago. Hiding my identity. Shrinking myself. Supporting a man who was betraying me. Now I was standing in front of thousands of people being my full self. I was successful and ethical. I was in love with someone who respected me. I was happy. That evening, Gabriel cooked dinner for me at our apartment. We ate on the balcony watching the sunset. I have something to tell you, he said. What? I got offered a job to design a new museum. It is a 5-year project right here in the city. My biggest project ever. Gabriel, that is amazing. I hugged him. There is more. The museum wants it to be innovative and sustainable. They asked if I knew anyone who could help integrate AI into the building design. I told them I knew the perfect person. I laughed. Are you asking me to work with you? I am. What do you say? Want to build something together? I looked at this man I loved. This partner who supported me and challenged me and made me better. This person who saw me completely and loved what he saw. Yes, I said. Let's build something incredible. As we sat there planning our future project, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Patricia. Brandon filed paperwork to legally change his last name. He is trying to move on with his life. I showed the message to Gabriel. He is finally letting go. Are you okay with that? I am more than okay with it. I hope he finds peace. I hope he learns from his mistakes. I hope he becomes a better person. That is very mature of you. I am not being mature. I am being free. Holding anger at Brandon would mean he still had power over me. Letting go means I won. That night, I stood on our balcony looking at the city lights. Everything was different now. My career. My relationship. My sense of self. I had discovered my husband's affair at his company launch before revealing my billionaire heir secret. That discovery had destroyed my marriage but revealed my true self. I was Natalie Thompson. CEO. Innovator. Partner. Daughter. Woman who knew her worth. And I was finally, completely, genuinely happy. The revenge I got was not against Brandon. It was not about destroying him or making him suffer. The revenge was building a life so good that he became irrelevant to my happiness. I won not by fighting him but by becoming my best self without him. And that felt better than any revenge I could have planned.